Hi there, this is Matt at State of Flux, here with another Everyone's a Critic 52-week movie challenge. This week's challenge is a natural disaster film, and this week we have something slightly different. We have a disastrous duo that we're going to be doing, because I'm not going to review one film, but two. So, the movies that I'm going to do, I'm just going to give you the title and not the rundown of everything, are Moonfall and Seeking a Friend at the End of the World. Alright, why did I choose this particular film? Let's start with Moonfall. Honestly, what I wanted to do was review Armageddon, but I couldn't find my Criterion Collection DVD. Believe it or not, Armageddon is on Criterion, and I couldn't find where mine is. It must have been at my parents' house, but I wanted something with a similar feel. So I decided I hadn't seen Moonfall. Let's check that out. So I put on Moonfall, and it was honestly awful. It was so bad, and then at around like the 40-minute mark or so, I realized that the hint of the movie was that it wasn't really a natural disaster per se. It seemed to be guided by aliens. So I was like, this doesn't really work, and that's when I pivoted to Seeking a Friend for the End of the World, and there you have it. Have I seen these movies before? I've not seen either of them. Would I recommend these films? Why or why not? I could not recommend either of them. In fact, I liked Moonfall more than I liked Seeking a Friend for the End of the World. What? Seeking a Friend for the End of the World, if you're unfamiliar, is a movie not too dissimilar from Don't Look Up, except it has none of the humor of that film, none of the drama of that film, and none of the nuance of that film. And that's saying something because that was a pretty divisive film last year, even though it was nominated for Best Picture, and even though I happen to like that movie. But Seeking a Friend for the End of the World stars Steve Carell and Keira Knightley, with a couple other actors tossed in there, that most of whom I quite like. Connie Britton, you have Patton Oswalt, Adam Brody, and I cannot think of a movie that the humor lands less. The humor is crass when it is there, and it's not funny at all. Not once, not ever. It has a pretty solid trailer. There are two jokes that land, both of which can be seen in the trailer. It's a great trailer. Check out the trailer to Seeking a Friend for the End of the World. Much better experience. Pivoting back to Moonfall, Moonfall stars Patrick Wilson, Halle Berry, and a couple other people. It's not really worth talking about. That is a film wherein the moon is falling, but you find out the moon is actually an object in space that was placed there by intelligent AI many years ago. Aliens, but humanoid. It's a thing. Both of these movies are completely dismissible. The fun of a disaster film, in terms of its epic nature, is that the action beats are fun. And for Moonfall, when action is on screen, it is kind of fun. However, if you've seen any other Roland Emmerich film, it's a Roland Emmerich directed picture, you've seen Moonfall. And there's an action beat that's lifted like almost directly from 2012, which is a better movie. Still not a good one. And yeah, I can recommend every other Roland Emmerich film, including Godzilla, before I would recommend Moonfall. Neither of these pictures are particularly good. Moonfall has going for it action occasionally, but the beats between action goes what feels like infinitely long. And then Seeking a Friend for the End of the World takes a much more human, introspective look at what happens when an asteroid is impending doom with planet on a personal level. There's no action, it's just a quirky drama about the contemplation of life, but it offers almost nothing to say. And that's my problem with that one. If you're going to do something like that, you should try and have something to say. As of now, this film just uses the end of the world as a backdrop, but it really is about crumbling marriages and how it feels like the world's ending. until you find that next great person. Which sounds much better than it actually is. I promise you, try to experience the movie and you'll wish you're watching Moonfall. Which character are you most able to identify with or connect with, and in what way? Probably be the Patrick Wilson character in Moonfall. I don't know why. He's Patrick Wilson. He's a likable dude. And for Seeking a Friend for the End of the World, probably Keira Knightley. She's fine. Best line or most memorable quote? I got nothing for either of them. Were you surprised by the ending? What would you do differently? Moonfall's ending is just, like, whatever. I don't know what I would have done differently. I would have made a smarter movie. Like, that was a first draft screenplay, and I'm convinced of it. Like, go through a couple more passes, like, to just build that up. Seeking a Friend for the End of the World has one fantastic scene, and it is the final scene of the movie. It kind of is hindered by me having watched Don't Look Up last year, and both of those films have somewhat similar conclusions. I think it plays much better in Don't Look Up, but this is a really powerful scene. It's the only good scene in the movie. So much so that I'm convinced that the people who did give that movie a positive recommendation were because it went out on an exceptional note. What are some of the things you would do if you were faced with a similar disaster? So both of these are sky is falling kind of dramas. I'm not so much an action guy, and I kept thinking to myself, more in Seeking a Friend for the End of the World than in the Moonfall. But what would I do in a situation like this? I don't know. I think I would try to spend as much time as I could with the people that I really cared about, as long as I could. And yeah, so I don't know that I would really do anything extraordinary. I would just experience life well I could. Anything else I would like to add? Honestly, if you're given a choice between watching Moonfall or Seeking a Friend for the End of the World, do like I wanted and watch Armageddon. I can't believe I'm recommending a Michael effing Bay film over either of these. But there you go. Watch Armageddon. You at least get Ben Affleck, you get Michael Clark Duncan, you get Bruce Willis back when he was still like caring about acting. You get fun here and there. It has Jason Isaacs. He's always great. Billy Bob Thornton's always fun. It's got Steve Buscemi. Michael Bay knows how to pull a really good cast. This has suddenly turned into a Michael Bay review. I'm gonna pivot. Let's move to next week. I've wasted enough time on either of these disasters of a movie. My week 38 challenge, a film set in your own location or region. Cool. I'll try to find some fun Minnesota movie to have at you next week. Thanks for watching. Like, subscribe, do all that good stuff. Peace.